I was living in New York, working for a big hedge fund. I remember very distinctly walking into work and looking at the guy who sat next to me, who was 50 years old and had the same job I had, and thinking, you know what, if I'm not careful, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and I'm gonna be him. A good friend of mine had an office a couple blocks away, and the two of us would go to lunch and just sit there and talk about all the different business ideas that we had and all the different things that we wanted to do outside of the financial world. Instead of being a cog in somebody else's big machine, I want to do something entrepreneurial and have my own machine. At the end of the day, I just said, you know what, I'm done, and I left my job without a plan. My name's Barton OBrien, and we're at the Chesapeake Bay Dog Company near Annapolis, Maryland. We're the maker of the BAYDOG brand of dog accessories. So I grew up in a small town in Northwest Pennsylvania called Warren, Pennsylvania. I went to the Naval Academy, and after I graduated, I was commissioned a second lieutenant in the U.S. Marines, and I had an 8.5-year career flying Cobra helicopters in the Marines. I was a young lieutenant serving, getting ready to do my first deployment when 9/11 happened. And then all plans changed. So I basically did back-to-back deployments in Iraq. And I got out of the Marines in 2006. Yeah, so when I left the Marine Corps, I wanted to go to graduate school. And I thought I was going to continue in the government and, maybe end up working at the State Department or the Pentagon or something in a civilian capacity. But while I was there, the economy was literally melting down around us. I was studying all of the stuff that was super interesting in the news every day. And I ended up getting a job in London working for a hedge fund. I had an absolute blast living in the UK. While I was there, I got recruited by a larger hedge fund in New York. And even though I really didn't want to leave London because I loved it so much, they kind of made me an offer I couldn't refuse. So I was good at my job, and I had a pretty promising future, I think, in finance. But eventually I got to the point where I realized I wanted to do something entrepreneurial. I didn't want to work for somebody else. Without really having a plan, I quit my job. The only thing I knew for sure was that I was going to get a dog. I'd wanted to have a dog my entire adult life, but my lifestyle just hadn't allowed for it. I actually set it up where my last day in the office was on a Friday, and then Saturday morning I woke up at 4 a.m. and flew down to Georgia to a farm and picked up chunky 8-pound puppy who I named Walther. He's been with me pretty much every day since. I can't imagine my life without Walther anymore. He's hilarious. He's very stubborn. He's too smart for his own good. He snores. And he goes everywhere with me. And, I've never been married. I don't have kids. And so Walter's really my family. And now I have a job that's based basically on him. Like I said, he's the co-founder. If he had opposable thumbs, I probably wouldn't be involved in the business. We were walking back from the dog park one day, and I had a bit of inspiration where I basically came up with a product to make my life easier, to help me carry my slobbery tennis ball and to replace our poop bag dispenser. And the product I made is now the BAYDOG Pack and Go bag. I just made it to make my life easier. And so I took it to a trade show on a whim, and it won the Best New Product Award. And I started to think, hey, you know what? Maybe there's a business here. And from that, we came up with the brand BAYDOG. Our most popular product is our Chesapeake harness. We also make a small dog harness called the Liberty Bay harness, the Galveston Bay harness, the Saranac pack. One leash design, our Monterey Bay life jacket, or offshore life jacket. We have a line of toys. Our most popular toy is our Fetch Ring. And then we have 3 different dog coats, the Saginaw Fleece, the Glacier Bay. Lastly, this year we launched the Narragansett Bay sailing jacket. What differentiates us is I see a lot of my competition going after the direct-to-consumer channel and selling on all these web-based platforms. And what they're really doing is they're undercutting the brick-and-mortar mom and pop pet store, of which there are tens of thousands of them in the United States. And a lot of these guys are struggling, and we've provided them at least one part of their store where they know they're not going to lose sales to online competition. I know it's a little cliche, but we don't view the stores that we work with as customers. We view them as partners. When I talk to a store owner and they say, we absolutely love your product, it's so easy to sell, it's really helped our business, that is hugely satisfying for me. With BAYDOG, I was lucky that I'd done well enough that I could take a couple of years off and figure out what I wanted to do, and I had enough to start BAYDOG without having to take out a loan. But obviously, as the business has grown, that's changed. Affordable access to capital is survival for BAYDOG. We're shipping things out without getting paid all the time because we're shipping to wholesale accounts that usually need 30, sometimes 60 or 90-day terms. And so access to a line of credit that I could draw down throughout that process and then pay back once I get paid by my end customer, that's kind of the name of the game for our business. You know, when I started this business, it was me and my neighbor at my living room table, and we did everything. And if you look at our operation now, we just moved into this 5,000 square foot warehouse that we're filming in today 2 weeks ago. And I've been extremely lucky, and I've been able to find unbelievable, amazing employees. I hired Steve to be our warehouse manager. Now, Steve spent 30 years at the post office. He's the retired postmaster of a local post office. If there's a guy in the state of Maryland that's more capable of getting packages out the door than Steve, I sure as heck haven't found him. And Valerie, when she came, and I was processing all the orders myself, and I passed it on to her, she's made all the processes her own, and BAYDOG is so much more efficient because of her. Like, that's had a huge impact on me. If you hire really exceptional people and give them the tools they need to be successful, they're going to surprise you by doing amazing work. You know, we're so small, they're really team members, and they contribute just as much to the business as I do. And I love coming here every day. You know, we bring our dogs to work. We always have dogs running around the office. So it's just a joy to come here, and, you know, I make stuff for my dog and people buy it, right? It's fun.